Alright, I'm going to do a how to lace a BMX wheel. Traditional 3-cross, 36 holes on the hub and the rim. So you'll need to get a hub, nipples, and spoke, and you'll need a rim that's 36H, and I'm using a flybikes classic rim, which would be traditional lacing, not the cross lacing that they did on the older fly rims. And this is a new Colony Wasp hub. It's a right-hand drive hub. And I have Shadow Conspiracy spoke. So if you can see this, there is 36 holes in the hub. So you'll just take one random spoke and put it in any hole. Bam, put it in any hole. And then what you're going to do after that is skip a hole, put a spoke in, skip a hole, put the spoke in, skip a hole, put the spoke in. So I'll go ahead and do that. Make sure that there's always a hole in between each spoke that you put in. So don't do that. Don't put two spokes in right next to each other, or it's not going to work. And also make sure that the spoke doesn't go through the hole on the other side of the hub either. Alright, so it'll look like that. You'll have 9 of them in there. Then you're going to want to make sure that you got your nipples and stuff, which I'm using red alloy. So, next thing you're going to want to do is take your rim and find out where the valve hole is. So mine is right there. You're going to just grab one random spoke off the hub, and you're going to stick that spoke through the hole that's to the left of the valve stem. So it'll look like that. If you can see that, there's the valve hole stem right there. You're going to put it to the left, the first hole to the left. And then usually what I do is take a nipple and I will turn it on about 4 turns. And then just leave it like that. I do that with all of them. I do about 4 turns on every spoke. So then what you're going to do is grab the next spoke, the one that's next to the one that you just did, and you're going to count 3 holes and put it in. So right here is the first hole. 1, 2, 3. You're going to put it in the 4th one. So you're always going to skip 3 holes, put it in the 4th one. So make sure that there's 3 holes in between each spoke that you put in. You'll grab the next one and then count 1, 2, 3, put it in. 1, 2, 3, put it in. This down for a second, put the rest in real quick. Alright, so this is what you will have so far. It'll look like that, 9 spokes. Make sure that each one is 3 holes in between the spokes. So you can see the 3 holes right there. 1, 2, 3, there's a spoke, there's a spoke. So now what you're going to do is you're going to flip the wheel over and find your valve stem hole again. Makes it just a little bit easier. Alright, so there's the valve stem hole. That's where you started. So now, since you flipped the wheel over, it is on your right side. So what you're going to do is you're going to look straight down at the hub, and you can see that there's 2 holes right here where my finger is. You're going to want to put the spoke into the hole that's to the right of the first spoke you put in where the valve hole is. you can see when you drop the spoke in that it kind of hits the middle, so it's not exactly like to this hole right here that goes through, but it hits the middle. And then if you go on this side, on the other side of the hub, to the left, it hits the middle at the same time. But don't put it to the one on the left. If you put it to the one on the left, you'll have to start all over and it won't cross lace right. So make sure you're looking straight down at the hub. Make sure that you start with the spoke you started with, which is right here by the valve stem. And you're going to put the spoke to the one to the right. And then you'll drop in the spoke with the same thing you did before, which is put a spoke in, then skip a hole, put a spoke in. But since on this side it's the driver's side, I'm going to be using the shorter spokes since the flange is higher. So make sure you keep them separate than the ones that you used before. So, looking straight down, add it, you'll put it to the right first one, and all you're going to do is put it into the hole that's right next to the spoke that you just did. So you're going to put that one in there. They're all going to be trailing along, so each spoke you put in will be trailing to the ones that you put in before. So you'll drop in all the rest. Make sure you skip a hole in between each one, just like before. Alright, there we go. So we got all 9. So all you're going to do is trail them. So here's the second spoke I put in. You're going to put it to the hole right next to the one you put in. So I'm going to lace up a couple of these real quick, or put them in. And I still use the 4 turns on these spokes. Makes it a little easier in the long run if you turn the nipples the same amount every time. Alright, so you can see both of those are trailing. I'm going to put the camera down again and put the rest in. Alright, so this is what it looks like after you put all those in. Also, these are also called outbound spokes, since when you're putting the spoke through the hole, it's going out and not towards you. So the next thing we're going to be doing is inbound spokes. You're going to flip the wheel over again, just like where you started. And if you need to, you can find the valve hole again, which mine is going to be right here. So there's my valve hole. So you'll take this, the hub, and you'll turn it clockwise. And you might need to jiggle it a little bit because sometimes the spokes are a little weird. But it'll look like that. So it's turned, and you can see all the spokes are turned. And this time you can just throw in a random spoke. It doesn't matter which hole you put it in, but make sure you're using the right length. So since this is the non-drive side, I will be using the longer spokes I had. And I will be going up from the bottom and through this hole. So see how the spoke goes through this hole? That's what you want to do. This is called an inbound spoke because it's going in towards you. And this is what it'll look like. I'm doing a traditional 3 cross. So what I always do is I go over the first spoke, over the second spoke, and under the third. So over, over, under. So you might have to bend it a little bit to get it in there, but that's alright. Dang it. Alright. Alright, so over, over, under. And when you get to the under part, and you're stuck with 2 holes, you can see 2 holes. There's one right here and one right here. You're going to put it not in this one, but the one that's up here. So you're going to make, since you're going to the right side of the rim, you're going to put it in the hole that's closest to the right side, because this one would be to the left, which you'll be using on the other side. So you're going to put it in this hole right here. So you'll just go over, like over, under the third one, into the second hole, and then put the nipple on. And I still try to do 4, even though that's a little tough, that one. So it'll look like that. That's what your first inbound spoke will look like, so across. Then what I like to do personally is flip it over again and use my drive side spokes, which are the shorter ones, throw it in a random hole. So I'll use this one right here. And then I like to go the other way, so you'll do the same thing, over this, under this. So over, under. And this time, you're going to be putting it in the hole that's closest to the left. So here's the right hole over here, where it's wiggling. That's the one that's for the other side of the hub. You're going to put it in the hole right here. So I like to do that so that it keeps its shape when I'm putting all the other spokes in, so it doesn't come undone from when you twisted it in the first place. So turn that about 4 times, keep that on there. So that's what that side looks like. So then you can go back to the other side, and all you're going to do is make sure you have the right spokes, so the non-drive side ones, and you will go up between the hole again, in the hole, and you'll do the same thing over, under. Alright, so that's what it's starting to look like. I'm going to put the camera down again and do the rest. Alright, so this is what your wheel should look like after you do the 3 cross on the first side. So just remember, when you put the spoke coming in towards you, that you go over, under the third, and into the top hole, not the bottom hole. And then on the other side, you'll do the same exact thing, but since it's turned, you'll go like over, under, into the top hole. So, I'll show you a couple of these ones. And once you lace a couple wheels a couple times, it gets super easy. So again, over this first spoke, over the second one, and under this third one. Sometimes you gotta muscle it just a little. And then you'll put it into the only hole that's left, since you already laced up the other side, which would be this one right here where my thumb is. Also, another tip if you're using alloy nipples, to make sure you have the correct size spoke wrench so you do not strip them, because they tend to strip easy. Also, don't over tighten them when you are truing or it will strip. So I'll do one more on this side and then I'll put the camera down again and finish it up and show you what it looks like. So another inbound spoke. And we will be going over, under this third one, and into the only hole that's left, which is right here. So you can kind of see how it's coming together. I'm going to put this down again and finish the rest. Alright, so this is what the finished product looks like. This is a traditional 3-cross lace. Yeah, I used alloy nipples. Not all of them are sticking out because I haven't trued it or anything yet. But that's how you lace a regular wheel. The harder part is the truing part. I recommend going in and starting at your valve hole right here and doing full turns all the way around on one side, flip it over, start at the valve hole again, do 1 turns all the way around on that side, and then slowly do like half turns and then 1/4 of a turn until all of the spokes are tight. None of them should be loose like this, or you're going to die if you try to ride it like that. But yeah, that's how you lace a BMX wheel. 36 holes, traditional 3-cross lacing.